Gamer Theory 101. Good game. GG. This is something that I remember from back in the day. Maybe the good old Vanilla WoW days. Maybe a little bit after that or something. Where a lot of times, you compete against folks. And you know what? Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. But very often after, you'd see, good game. GG. This got me to thinking. Where very often, if there's an altercation, if something happens, if all of a sudden somebody says something, somebody does something, it ends up becoming an altercation. Well, I don't know. I hear a lot of folks nowadays saying, never apologize, never do this, never do that. I don't know about that. I believe a wise man once said, be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology. Because you never know when that person, whatever might happen. Will you have another chance? Maybe. What happens if you don't? I don't know. These are all personal choices. You can do whatever you want. I mean, it is what it is. You might end up facing the consequences. But all I'm saying is, I got to thinking about this, and if folks aren't admitting they're wrong, then aren't we avoiding, goodwill? Are we not, promoting resentment? So I got to think, I'm like, what happens if we did things differently? What happens if all of a sudden somebody said something, it's like, all right, well, that's not a big deal. Well, I wasn't trying to offend you. It wasn't my intention or anything like that. It's like, all right, that kind of reminds me, it's like, oh, it's almost like getting a save point. It's like, oh, it's at least a soft save point where it's like, no, I accept you as a human being. I understand you as a level of humanity. And it got me to thinking about, well, are there any, perhaps, social experiments? Is there anything to back up the whole, well, do people apologize a lot? That got me thinking about Canada. I like Canada. There's a lot of good folks up there. And I heard a story from a gentleman who had worked as a construction worker before while I was down in Florida visiting the old man. And he had told me he ended up having either some sort of altercation with this individual, happened to be a young man in a vehicle. He didn't take too kindly with it. I believe he decided to kick in the driver's side door and or maybe do some other things that it wasn't the greatest thing to do. Later, the authorities, they sat down with him. He admitted he was wrong. He got angry. He overreacted. He apologized. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we all screw up. We all mess up. If we're actually willing to owe up for that, maybe we should have that in consideration. Why don't we have that in consideration? I don't think we really have the incentives for anybody to admit that they're wrong. Why? Oh, well, we're going to use that as evidence against you that obviously you did something wrong. So what does that do? We're not really incentivizing people to tell the truth, which then breeds more ill will and everything, and then we go back into the cycle. Nobody trusts anybody for any particular reason or anything because you're not on my side and or it's not going to benefit me. Folks do tend to act in their own self-interest. This is something that we should keep in mind as well. But I got to thinking where, wait a second. Even one of my buddies that went to Montreal, he got robbed. He walks out of the ATM. A guy pulls a gun on him. He's like, I need your camera and your money. He's like, oh. He gives it to the guy. The guy said he was sorry. He needed the money. I'm like, wait. You're saying you went to Canada, got robbed, and your robber apologized? Yes. That's fascinating. So I'm like, does this explain why a lot of folks... I'm not saying Canada's perfect. Canada ain't freaking perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect. But I look at that and I'm like, they don't seem to have the same problems that we do? Do they have problems of their own? Yeah. Yeah, they do. But they also have a lot less people and, I think more trees. I like trees. But all I'm saying is, if we had a little bit more of a better decor, if we were actually able to maybe try to understand one another a little bit better, rather than assuming ill will, I don't know, might change things. I think good faith changes everything. But I'm just a dude on the internet, so. Thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody. Be safe. And long live the Elbow Bump. Bump.